down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, you need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions.
It's a Friday time now for Home Repairs and Solutions with Mark and Mary, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. And this morning, Mary isn't here, so it's going to be her son Nathan. It'll be Nathan and Mark. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning, Dan.
Had to have, Mary's always here, and she sent her personal envoy, her son Nathan. Glad to hear, Nathan.
We give her a day off every once in a while.
She deserves, or she says she deserves it. Now, I don't know. You might tell us more about that.
I think it's good for her morale if she leaves for a few days.
I figured it was all that dancing that her and Paul's been doing, and
Yeah.
and it's probably got her wore out, is what
Yeah, I heard
kinda
about
figured.
that. Actually, I got a picture of that yesterday. I guess it was online and put it at Dad's office. He'll be happy to see that.
Your dad in
all
a
the
suit
guys-
and everything?
Yeah, in a suit
Wow. Yeah. See, that's what it is. They just wore themselves out. Mary, that's what happens when you get old, No. So she told me she's going to be listening. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, well, I'll probably be getting a call then.
Yeah, more than likely so. So
She probably did hurt her hip while she was dancing.
have to go into therapy now. So,
Yeah.
well, we better quit being mean to your mom here. So, this is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO. We're going to talk about anything you want to talk about. The numbers are 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. We have a special guest in the studio today we're looking forward to. Before that, now, last time you were here, I wasn't. I had to take a day off. So tell folks a little bit about what you do over there, Nathan.
Well, I manage the service department, run most of the leads for estimates and duct cleaning and that sort of thing. Just day-to-day operations, keep the guys busy.
Yeah, there you go. So, and that is, of course, Spring Mountain Air. They sponsor the program, and fine folks over there.
Yeah,
so
appreciate it.
And our special guest, we're going to talk something a little different today than what we've had so far. I've been looking forward to this. We have Dana Elwell from Guarantee Bank, and we're going to talk a little bit about home loans and whatever you want to talk about. So
Well, I'm here to talk about whatever you want to talk about, I guess.
Okay.
Home loans certainly are going right now. Rates are low, and we do a lot of refinance and hopefully some purchase deals out there, and do some home equity loans and some construction loans. Got all kinds of loans going on, I think. So.
Yeah. Just a little bit, tell us a little bit of history about Guarantee Bank. How long have they been around?
We've been there since 1913, so in a couple of years we celebrate 100
years,
of,
wow.
Existence there in Greene County, and so we've been a bank now for maybe 11, 12 years, and so we do and provide all kinds of normal banking services.
Now, when I was a kid growing up, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Guarantee Federal?
Guarantee Federal Savings and Loan, yeah.
Right,
And then it turned
okay.
to Guarantee Federal Bank, and then just Guarantee Bank. So.
Okay. Yeah, my family's done business with y'all for quite some time. So
Yeah, it's a lot of people, I'm sure, have done business with us over the last 98 years up to this point in
Yeah.
time. So
wow, that says a lot right there, being around that long. I know, me being in the real estate and home building and everything, home loans are a big issue. And like you say, rates are down, probably the cheapest they've been in several years.
I would think so, yeah. They actually probably a few weeks ago were the lowest they've been in probably 30, 40 years. And
Wow.
they're up a little bit now, up a quarter, not much, but they're still in the low 4% range and on a 30-year loan and the middle threes on a 15-year loan. So, as I said, we've had a lot of people refinance. We've seen a lot of people that refinanced 2 years ago are refinancing again today. So some opportunity out there to improve yourself.
Wow. Is it harder to qualify now than what it was 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago?
It's probably similar to what it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Obviously, the last 3 or 4 years, qualification was probably pretty easy. And certainly people have heard about all that and the different problems we've probably run into with home loans. So it's different than that, but it needed to be. I think I would correlate it to like 8 to 10 years ago. It's pretty similar, really. You have to show that you have decent credit, and you have to show you have enough income to pay it back. And those are, I think, common and should have been common, but we kind of got away from that as lenders in general over
Sure.
the last 3 or 4 years, and so it's different than 3 or 4 years ago, but I think pretty similar to what we would have seen the last 7, 8, 10 years ago.
I think people got spoiled the few years, and it got so easy for about anybody to qualify, and everybody thinks that it's so much tougher now. But really, like you were saying, this is the way it should have stayed.
Yeah,
like it is
I
right
agree
now.
with that. It probably should have stayed that way, and we all benefited from it. Really, you as a realtor were selling homes to people that probably shouldn't have bought a home.
Oh, yeah.
We may have made some loans. Nathan probably sold some merchandise to people that really didn't qualify. So, in a way, we all benefited from it. So we can't really complain about the problems we're having today. But hopefully,
Right.
get back to a more stable situation.
Is foreclosure still a pretty prevalent deal right now?
It's still pretty prevalent. I think Greene County, we probably hit a high last year that we've hit in the history. We're off that this year, thank goodness. But still, we're in the 1,000, 1,100 range. I think we were maybe 1,250 last year, something like that. And traditionally, maybe it was 300 or 400 in a year. So obviously, that's substantially more than
Sure.
what we'd like
Right.
to see. But hopefully, the trend will continue in a downward spiral and get down into 800, 900, and then down to 400, 500 again. So.
Right. Well, let's talk on the positive side of things.
Absolutely, you
Yeah,
bet.
there is some great programs out there. I know it's just not the traditional home mortgage like we used to see. There's all kinds of different options. There's of course, I'd like to talk a little bit about the VA. You got the FHA things going on. There's so many options that avenues a person can take. Touch just a little bit on those.
Now, certainly the VA, FHA are still out there. Those are popular programs. They require minimal down payment. A program that's become more prevalent in the last few years is USDA or rural housing. That can be a 100% loan, actually. The USDA, of course, is limited to more rural areas, so people living in Springfield, or if you have a Springfield address, you don't qualify for that. I think even NICSA does not qualify for that, but you get into the more outer areas, the Ash Groves, Republics, Ozarks, Straffords, they can get that kind of financing. As I said, it can be 100% financing, so that's because of the 100% availability is a
Right.
big difference. Other than that, you have the typical conventional loans, which have been around for some time. 95% is kind of the standard maximum on that situation. Used to be you could get 100% loans in that level, but that's not available anymore either. So.
Okay. Like I say, I know there's so many different kinds out there, and especially a lot of young folks buying a house for the first time. There's some really good programs out there, but there again, you got to be able to afford a house. I mean, it's unfortunately we did put a lot of people into houses that they had no business buying a house, and so we have paid the cost on that a little bit. But if you're smart and you have good credit, there's some good programs out there, especially for the young people that's trying to get started.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, the rates today on a 30 years around 4 1/4. That's probably was around 3 3/4 maybe a couple 3 weeks ago. So, but still relatively in the scheme of things, that's a cheap rate. You get in the 15-year rate, you're in the mid threes. So. Many people are taking advantage of that. We would like to see probably more buyers. I'm sure the realtors and builders would like to see more buyers, and there are some out there. But a great time to be buying a home with the rates where they are, and home prices have gone down a little bit, unfortunately.
Right.
But for the new buyers, that's a great opportunity.
Sure. Credit scores. Where does a person need to be on a credit score to get into a better interest rate?
Typically, they have minimum credit scores now of around 640. And what happens on the home loan side, we usually pull 3 different scores, and so we use the middle score as the one that we determine that on. So the better rates would require higher score than that. You get into the 700, 720, 760. They'll get the very best rates,
Sure.
which is a little different than 4 or 5 years ago. It was kind of everyone that walked in the door got exactly the same rate, effectively. Now, the rate really can't be determined for an individual unless we know credit scores, debt to income. There's some other factors go in that. So, which is a benefit to those that have really good credit. They're going
Right.
to get maybe instead of 4 1/4, maybe they get 4 1/8. Maybe if you have a little lower credit score, maybe you get 4 1/2. So it's not substantially different,
Yeah.
but it is a little bit different in that case.
Right. What can say a young couple out here getting started? What advice can you give them to be ready to buy a house in the future? I mean, what do they need to start doing now?
Certainly down payment is a piece of that. The 5% down on conventional, FHA's 3, VA's you can get 100% loan. As I said, USDA in certain areas 100% loan, but probably the down payment would be the critical part. Certainly keep track and pay attention to your credit, pay your bills on time. The credit score is kind of a mystical score, really. You get all kinds of publications tell you how the scores evolve, but one of the items would be if you have a credit card, say, and your high maximum allowable is $1,000, and you only owe $800, you pay timely, etc. But if you start to get past that 50% mark of what your high balance is, in other words, if you have a $1,000 allowable balance and you're above $500, then that starts to become potentially a negative on your score. So pay attention to your credit, pay attention to how you pay timely. That's important, but also your credit cards, and if you have several of them, try to keep them at a below 50% of allowable balance.
Right. I hear so many times they'll say, well, I'm not getting credit cards, I'm not getting everything, I'm paying everything with cash, and that way I'm going to have the best credit ever was. That's not really true, is it?
Wouldn't be true today. The score, of course, has to be based on how much credit you have and how you pay credit. So don't really want to encourage people to just go out and get cards for no reason. But there is a benefit to have some credit history there because they can't really tabulate a score without it.
Right.
So in the old days, and probably even some people today, if you pay everything by cash, that's not a bad idea. But from a pure credit score standpoint, you can't get a score, and sometimes that makes it tougher for the home loan side, unfortunately.
Right. Can a person just go out and buy a house with cash these days?
Well, they can, and I'm sure you would, as a realtor, love to sell those. There's not very many of those people out there. Nathan would like to sell them some opportunities in his way, but that's not very common. But certainly there are cash transactions. Obviously, we don't see those as the bank because they don't need us. But hopefully we see them, that they open checking, savings accounts, money markets, that kind of thing. So.
If a person wanted to do that, do they have to verify their funds and everything?
I don't think so. On a cash deal, they probably wouldn't have to. Just as long as you were aware that if you're the realtor selling them, that you could figure out your own to your own degree of comfort that they had the cash.
Came by that cash
closing,
legally,
they could actually write a check for you. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting because I've always heard, well, you can't buy a house with cash, and I always kind of disagreed with that. And one of the reasons I was given is, well, that those funds have to be verified where they came from. We don't want them to come from something that they did illegal, this, that, the other. And but I know there is people out there that work hard and save their money and can do that.
Certainly on the loan side, we verify the cash, and that comes into play. But, I don't deal too much on all cash transactions, so whatever you say as a realtor is what they do.
Yeah, you wouldn't have much reason to. We got Steve out there on the cell phone. Go ahead, Steve.
Yes, if you pay for a house with cash, you always hear with these closing costs and points and all this stuff. If you pay for cash, what are you responsible for? Just the filing at the county, deed transaction, or what?
Yeah, probably. Certainly, you have to have the warranty deed recorded, and that's probably, I don't remember now the number, probably $25, $30, something like that. You'll probably want to get some kind of title insurance, though, that would ensure that if you, in fact, buy this property, that you're going to have it free and clear and no liens or encumbrances. So that would be something I would think the realtors, I know Mark would, and if you were my customer and came to me, I'd recommend highly that you pay for that. So that depends on what the purchase price is, those kind of things. But that's really the only real expenses, right?
Yeah, the closing company fees you would have, and that's normally split between the buyer and the seller. So that's $150, $200, or maybe a little bit more on each side, $300. And
what
so
is
you
closing?
do have
those. You should call it closing. If I would see a house on number 10 Main Street, I go up and I want $100,000 for it. I've got $100,000. I pay them for it, and what transpires next? If you go at the closing, I don't understand real estate a lot. Obviously, you can tell by my questions.
Well,
but
what when we talk about the closing and the closing company, they do a lot for us as far as the title search and several different things that, just like Dana was saying, to make sure there's no liens or encumbrances against that piece of property. So there is several things that they do. Then they go through the process for you of getting the everything properly recorded. And so it's and I know there's some banks that will even close property for you or have a closing company that they will recommend you using. So there's several things that they do just to finalize the deal and make sure that both parties are well protected and there's no issues.
Yeah, probably the banks wouldn't handle that very often. It's probably
Right.
the title company. But yeah, the title company handles the transaction, make sure the deed gets recorded. They reflect on the settlement statement what you paid and what the seller netted, for history for your sake, and so you'd have some expenses, even though it's not like a loan closing cost because you're not getting a loan, but there are closing costs really in the form of recording of the warranty deed, paying the title company to handle the closing, and
what would
title
that, just
insurance.
approximately, what would that run?
Well, again, the recording fee's standard flat fee effectively on the deed itself, but I think the closing fee probably is about $150 to $200. Both buyer and seller pay that, and then the title insurance would be based on the amount of insurance you want, based on what you paid for the property. So $100,000 probably you'd want to figure maybe $400 or $500, something like that, on a title insurance.
So you're probably $1,000 time it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think it'd
maybe
be
some
probably
a little
less
less than that.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, and how long does that transpire? You got a willing buyer and a willing seller, and how long could that be mine?
Well, I had an instance. This has been back a month or so ago. I had a gentleman, cash buyer, by the way, want to buy one of our new houses that we built, and he wanted to close it in a week. And it's tough to make it happen, but we did.
In a week.
Yeah. So we closed it within a week. Normally, what we do as a realtor, we try to figure 30 days because also, you have home inspections come into play. Whether you want to get that home inspected or not, and then you give the sellers an opportunity to fix the problems. If you want to buy it as is, no inspections or anything, that's a little bit quicker that way. There's several things that factor in, but normally we like 30 days.
Okay. And that's even on like just land, undeveloped land or anything like that, huh?
Yeah, and like I say, normally it can be done a lot quicker, especially on land where there's no really inspections. It's just a matter of getting title search and everything done. So a couple weeks probably would be sufficient on land, but like I say, 30 days is always the best if we can.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're sure welcome, Steve. Appreciate the call. There's a lot of questions, and I don't understand all the process on the closings. There's so many factors that come into play there, and like I say, it depends too if they're getting a loan on. That's where a lot of the time comes in is you working on the loan side of it.
Well, we'd like to think it's not a lot of time, but
Yeah.
there is time. Obviously, a cash
Yeah.
deal, like you mentioned, could actually potentially close in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Where on the loan side, we have to have an appraisal done, and there's some documentation we have to put together. But certainly, I think it's worthy to deal with the title company,
Right.
have them do the title search and handle the closing, those kind of things.
Right. Now, if you're getting we got a caller on. I'll ask that when we get back. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. I've got a question regarding owner finance. Are you knowledgeable in that regard? I'm a prospective buyer and am wondering what are the caveats with regard to owner finance.
Well, as far as owner finance, and we do this with our company. Of course, I'm with Dan Clark over at Remax, and so we have a company, construction company, where we build new houses, and we also have a lot of rental properties. A lot of times, what we'll do is we will owner finance a property, and the way we normally will do it is we have a simple credit app. We have you fill out. We send it over to Dana, matter of fact, and he will check that, and he'll call me and say, okay, these folks here, in a couple, 3 years, they can probably get their own loan if they continue to do what they're doing to repair their credit, because most of the time if you're going to do an owner finance, there's a reason. We all sometimes have these little ghosts that jump out and bite us, so we go that process. As far as the owner finance, we'll go a couple different ways. We'll say, okay, we'll put this on a 3-year note based on a 30-year amortization, and in 3 years we'll look at it, and hopefully then you can go get your own financing. Or we'll just do a contract for deed type where you actually the deed's actually recorded in your name, where you get the tax benefits, and you make us the payment. We can do a lease purchase if there's so much time. We'll give you a year or two, and a certain percentage of the rent that you pay on that lease will go to a down payment on the house. There's several different options there. Normally, you're going to pay higher interest when you do that.
Okay, I'm currently in front of a house that is advertised owner finance. It's a private entity. I guess they just happen to have a house they don't need.
Sure.
I currently have a mortgage, and I don't think I'd qualify for another mortgage.
Right.
I'm looking to pick up another piece of property for certain reasons, and I thought, well, owner finance would be the best bet since I currently have a mortgage. But in terms of interest deductions that I'm able to take advantage of with my current mortgage, at tax time, owner finance, I wouldn't be able to experience any tax benefits in terms of interest paid. Correct?
Well, you could. And that depends on the person that is selling you that house, how they want to do it. If they do where the deed of trust is actually put in your name and recorded, yeah, you get the benefits of the. They'll give you a receipt every year to show how much interest you paid them, and so yeah, you will receive the tax benefits if you do it that way. If you just do it on a lease purchase, no, you're not going to. But
gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, it depends how they want to do it. Like I say, you're going to pay higher interest, and the way we do is if that piece of property we have financed through Dana Guarantee Bank. He's charging us a certain amount of certain percentage rate on it, and it's always higher because it's non-owner occupied, and so we have to pass that higher percentage rate along to whoever's buying. We don't inflate that, but we got a situation right now. Some kids that's paying 6.5% because we financed the house to them. They are looking at refinancing themselves and getting down 4.25 somewhere along in there. And so it's quite a savings. But yeah, there's several options, and it just depends a lot on who you're buying it from.
Absolutely. And final question: it would obviously behoove me to pay home inspector. What's the home inspector charge now? Is it still about $300, give or take?
About $300, give or take a little bit. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I highly recommend it. I think that's the best money you can spend. We even have people that will do it on our brand new houses, and because hey, we every now and then we'll miss something. Nobody's perfect, but especially on an older home, I highly recommend, because a lot of times they'll find stuff that would definitely cause you a problem down the road and cost you a lot of money. And
absolutely.
So I highly recommend it.
Okay, fellas, thank you, and you guys have a good day now. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mike. Appreciate the call. We need to take a break.
We do.
We'll be back with more home repairs and solutions right after this.
From the Ozarks News Network, here's your 10:30 report. The two missing teens from Nixa have been found. 17-year-old Kevin Merritt and 15-year-old Tessa Merritt were found in a motel safe in Choteau, Oklahoma. The Mays County Sheriff is preparing their return to Missouri. Kroger is recalling one flavor of its store brand ice cream because of an undeclared peanut warning. The company that owns the Dillon stores in the Ozarks is pulling private selection Extreme Moose Tracks ice cream out of the stores because there was no warning on the label that it may contain peanuts. Kroger is advising customers to return the product to stores for a full refund or replacement. People who are allergic to peanuts could have a serious or life-threatening reaction. There's too much damage to determine the cause of the fire at the 3G plant in Mountain Grove. That's the word from Fire Chief Mark Bichon, who goes on to say there is no reason to believe the fire was suspicious. Early estimates suggest the flames burned anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million worth of equipment. The warehouse will have to be rebuilt. No one was injured in that fire. Jamie Turner, Ozarks News Network.
A beautiful day today with mostly sunny skies, a high 74. Clear skies tonight, a low 43. Mostly sunny and very nice again tomorrow to start the weekend. High tomorrow 76, low tomorrow night 55. Sunday mostly sunny and very nice, a high of 82. The record high is 85, set in 1950. Times of clouds and sun, but we will see a thunderstorm as you head back to work on Monday. High of 79. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
Attention Kmart shoppers, Mr. Blue Light here. Some other guys are starting to copy Kmart Layaway. Let's talk to one of them. Hey big guy, you're offering layaway just like Kmart does?
Oh, not exactly. Our layaway has quite a few restrictions.
Well, Kmart Layaway has thousands of items from dozens of departments, like apparel, sporting goods, and more. Does yours?
You're kidding, right?
Nope. And use Kmart Layaway this weekend to get a $5 gift card when your layaway payments are complete. Now that's Kmart Smart.
Requires down and biweekly payments. All fees non-refundable. Cancellation fees apply. Not available at all Kmart stores. Exclusions apply. See store for further details.
Save big during the PetSmart Fall Festival of Savings. You'll find great deals on thousands of items when you use your Pet Perks card. Get 40 5.5-ounce cans of Friskies for only $16. Plus, save $2 on cat chow and new 30-pound bags and get 1 can of Purina One cat food free with in-store coupon. Don't miss these great fall deals going on now at PetSmart. Happiness in store. While supplies last, offer valid through October 23rd with your Pet Perks card. Excludes Frisky Selects Indoor.
We use 50 kinds of fasteners, and if we run low, we need more of them. Fast business.
At Grainger, we know what business you're in.
The more our customers grow, the more we grow business.
The business of getting things done. That's why we offer over 900,000 products and the support you need to get your job done right and on time. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by one of our branches. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bring your lawn chairs and blankets and join us on the grounds of Missouri State University's Meyer Library for a spooktacular Halloween homecoming concert Saturday, October 29th at 7 p.m. This will be the final concert of the 2011 Jane A. Meyer Carillon Concert Series and will feature Missouri State University's carillonist Jeremy Chessman. Refreshments will be served throughout the concert. Tours of the carillon will be held following the concert. For more information, call the Missouri State University College of Arts and Letters at 836-5247.
Welcome to the Regulation Rodeo, where Missourians try and hang on to their jobs.
The last thing we need is EPA regulation that would slam Missouri families and businesses with higher energy costs, bucking even more of us from good-paying jobs. The U.S. House of Representatives has done its part. Now it's time for President Obama to tell his EPA to hold their horses. Visit EnergyForMissouriJobs.org to learn what you can do to protect your job. Paid for by Energy for Missouri Jobs.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And you're listening to Home Repairs and Solutions, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. And your hosts today are Nathan Pearson and Mark Withers, and we're back with the second half of the show, guys. And your guest is, Dana Ewell. Elwell.
Elwell, yes.
Yeah, Elwell. Should know.
I've been called a lot of things. That's
Elwell. Dana Elwell.
Well, we're glad to be back. Me and Nathan were talking during the break. Tomorrow's the big Cruising for Cleavage ride for the Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks. And as far as I know, me and a couple of my buddies are riding in it. I think we got Nathan here talking riding in it. So
if I can get some tires on the bike today, we'll probably
there
do
you
that.
go. We'll need to work on that because that'd be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to that. Tonight, I got a big bluegrass concert coming up here in Springfield. Got the group out of actually, I think Virginia is where they're from, the Lonesome River Band coming in, and South Haven Baptist Church starts about 7 o'clock tonight, and that is for the Greater Ozarks Bluegrass Society, and so we're going to have a big time on that, and so there's all kinds of things. Had folks telling us a while ago about the deal at Ash Grove, and this weekend, I mean, there's just Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest is downtown tomorrow.
I mean, there's just all kinds of things going on. So
I don't know if your listeners know that you sing that tune, that intro tune.
Well, do
you tell them that very often?
No, it's funny though. Back when I did this program with Herman Lumber, I wrote that song and recorded it, and people would tell me, say, we've just got to where we absolutely hate that song because we hear it, we can't get it out of our head. And so when the folks at Spring Mountain Air asked me to do this program again, couldn't find that song, so I took my dad and my Uncle Russ, which you know, and a couple other guys in, and we re-recorded it. So yeah, that's my family with me there this
very
time.
Good. It's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm more impressed with you now than I used to be.
Oh yeah. So well, I have to say that. And I'm not just saying this just because you're sitting here with us, but you have gone above and beyond to help us out, and everybody that I've ever sent over to you, you've gone above and beyond to help out in the home loans. You're honest with them. If you tell them, hey, no, we can't do it, and this is the reason why. This is what you need to do to qualify here in a couple of years. But you and the folks over there at Guarantee Bank have just been tremendous. I know for myself and for Dan and all of us that work with you on a daily basis, actually. So we appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we try to do the best we can and help people get the house that they want, and it doesn't do any good to prolong a situation where 6-8 weeks from now we say, well, we can't do it after all. So we try to be upfront with them, and certainly I know you guys are trying to sell homes, and Nathan's trying to work on homes, so we're trying to make this economy get back together. So.
Sure. Yeah, that's important. So. You got anything to put in? You're just awful quiet over here, Nathan.
Well, I'm awful shy.
No, what I was going to ask.
You came by it naturally from your mother.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I got to be careful what I say if she's listening. So.
Well, one of the things I was going to mention before we went to break there, or before we had that last caller, speeding up the process. We talked about traditionally we like to have 30 days from the time we write an offer on a house. To get everything done, all the paperwork. But there's things that people can do to just to speed the process up before they ever come to you. And I got on your website, Guarantee Bank's website, and I was looking around. And, there's certain things that you're going to need. So before a person comes to pre-qualify or try to qualify for that home loan, have all your stuff together. That helps.
That'd be correct. In the old days, they would come in and apply, and then we'd send out a verification form to their employer and one to the bank and the mortgage company, and just a variety of forms that we'd mail out, have to wait for them to be mailed back. But in today's environment, they actually provide us that information, such as income information. They give us check stubs for last 30 days. They give us W-2s from where they worked, maybe a couple years' worth if necessary. They give us bank statements to show here's what I have in the bank, investment account statements. So really everything that you fill in on the application that we ask you about, we need to verify it in some fashion. So those are all items they could bring to us the day they apply. And based on the computer and the automated underwriting, we actually can run through all that and say, well, we've already approved your credit-wise, so now we're just looking at getting the appraisal done. And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of refinancing going on, so the appraisers are busy.
Right.
But we try to, both the appraisers and lenders in general, try to put the purchase transactions kind of up front, because we know there's more timing necessity there with buyer, seller, and realtors. And so it's just a matter then of how quick we can get the appraisal back, and probably ought to allow a couple weeks. They might be able to do it sooner than that, but probably 2 weeks is probably a good time to allow for the appraisals.
Okay. I remember when I got my very first home loan, I was dealing with Greene County Bank out of Stratford. I think Bill Owen was the man out there then.
All right.
And I walked in and I said, hey, I'm going to build a house. And he said, okay, go ahead and start. Just bring me the receipts. And it was just that simple. But that's been several years ago. Not quite that simple now. I mean, is there still any hometown banks where a person can just walk in and get a loan on a handshake, or is that just absolutely a thing of the past?
Well, obviously we'd all like to think we're hometown banks.
Sure, yeah.
We actually are probably more hometown, and obviously we've been here since 1913.
Yeah.
Our locations are really Greene County and some Christian County, but under the environment today, they'll handshake, we'll make the loan, come back and sign a note here in another week or two.
Yeah.
That's kind of gone by the wayside, but I think we'd like to all think that we still deal with relationships, and certainly on the home loan side, when you're looking at fixed rate loans, those are sold, and they're actually sold to investors out of the state most likely, and so we have to go by a different set of guidelines there.
Sure.
And they tell us here's what we need, and the benefit to the buyer is they get a fixed rate 30-year fixed at today's environment at 4.25. So to obtain that, you have to go through certain steps, but we can make maybe the old traditional bank loan. You come in and you say, well, I don't have time, I want to do a little quicker than that, and we might be very glad to do that likewise. But instead of a 30-year fix, it's maybe a 3-year fixed. Instead of 4.25, it's maybe at 6. So you give up some of the benefits of that, but we might be able to do it much quicker again
Right.
because we're familiar with you, or you're a customer, and we can put something together a lot faster. So,
Right.
Construction loans, we do a few of those now, and certainly the custom construction loans more predominantly. Do a few spec loans, not very many, and I think that's rightfully so. The builders have had tough times on
Sure.
their own,
Oh,
selling
yeah.
their own homes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense to build some more specs out there that they can't sell, but there's still a little of that activity going on.
Everybody's under the impression right now. The first thing they'll ask is this house bank owned or who's selling this, and you tell them it's bank owned. Wow, I can get a better deal out of it. I want you to touch just a little bit on that because I don't think a lot of people understand the foreclosure process and what you guys have to go through. It's just not like you can just give away a property and lose money on it. There's things that you have to go through.
Well, we'd like not to lose money.
Yeah.
Sometimes that occurs, but
Yeah.
essentially at the foreclosure, unfortunately, we do have some of those, but it's not been very many, and we're glad of that. But we try to do an analysis prior to the foreclosure on what we think we can sell it for, and after commission and expenses, what we will actually net.
Mhm.
And so that's usually going to be what we bid at the foreclosure sale down at the courthouse. We hope then to try to net that. And so bank owned, obviously, we're not attached to the property from a sense that a regular seller might be, but we do try to price it at a level that we think it's worth the money at that level, and hopefully we can net the amount of money that we think
Sure.
we can. We don't always do that, and we do take a loss, but obviously that's a loss of income the bank has to reflect. So you start taking very many losses, that's bad for banks in general, bad for us certainly. And I think we're just trying to get back our money, at least most of it. We may have already charged off or lost money on the transaction already, and we're just trying not to lose any more.
Sure.
Effectively. So you handle some of our real estate transactions, and you kind of know what that's like. But they probably shouldn't go in and thinking, well, it's a $150,000 listing price, I'll ask them for $100,000.
Right.
We don't get offended like a regular seller will be.
Sure.
But we may not respond to them either. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Well, it's not worth it for
Right.
us to even deal with. So.
Right.
So I have a question for Nathan. We were talking,
Yeah.
my air conditioner, and in fact, some days I wear my air conditioner will kick on, and my furnace will kick on early in the morning of that night. Isn't this a good time, Nathan, to have your furnace checked? Filters, everything, because I'm just thinking, a filter alone, is just a small thing like a filter, can keep your furnace from functioning properly.
Right, and just like many furnaces, they've just been sitting for 3 or 4 months or even longer. Well, it's going to get cold next week. People are going to kick them on, and they're going to go, "Oh no, we don't have heat now." And that's why we do so many preventative maintenances, and it helps, and especially with CU clients, you get a $30 rebate just for having your furnace checked up.
Oh, that's the $30 rebate?
Yeah.
Wow, where do we call? What's the phone number over there?
You can call us at 831-4036, and one of the girls in the office will set up an appointment for you.
And it does as well if we do that. Such an inexpensive thing to get the furnace checked before the winter and check the filter and everything.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a little filter will keep from the entire furnace working properly.
Correct. Plus, we scope the heat exchangers, check them. If you get a cracked heat exchanger, then you're getting the carbon monoxide in your house, and you can't smell it or taste it, so
Sure.
you're not going to know what's going on.
Right.
Talked to Nathan during the break, and I told him I need to get my ducts cleaned, so I'm going to give him a call to give me an estimate on that. So I think that's something I've never really.
And you do that.
I've heard about.
Yep. The guys are out doing one right now.
Well, that's something that we don't always think about, and it's there again. It's preventative maintenance. Getting your ducts cleaned if you have problems with allergies and stuff like that. That's probably going to help.
Right. Especially a lot in the last year, what we found, a lot of ductwork's uninsulated, especially in crawl spaces, and it just wasn't put together well, and you're losing a lot under the house and just losing the efficiency of it.
Yeah.
Especially with utility bills the way they are, everybody's doing what they can to lower them right now.
Absolutely. And I don't know how many houses that I've been under or sent one of our guys under, and they'll say, hey, there's 2 or 3 rooms that the duct's just laying on the ground here, or fell off, and so you're just pumping your heater air right under the house. And
yep, we see it constantly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just poor design duct systems and just lack of
some of
quality
them
putting them
just
in.
old and
right.
just
Sure. Yeah.
at the day it may have been good, but nowadays it's not.
You're right, exactly.
So that's very important. So when they have you to come out and clean your ducts and everything, you're gonna notice all those things,
right?
And so,
yep.
I just want to mention that Spring Mountain Air because they're our sponsor.
Absolutely,
yes, they are.
We talked about that too. We need to get Nathan on here a little bit. So I'm hoping to have him come out and give me an estimate because I've had my home now for 18 years and I'm sure my builder didn't do it. That wouldn't be common, and particularly back then. And so I need at least to have him tell me what that might cost and probably invest the money to get that done.
Well, the simplest thing, you can go, the return airs in your ceiling, how they get real nasty and dirty. Well, that's the air, that's flowing through your house. You keep breathing. Or even just simply go and pull the register up and look down it, and I think you'd be shocked.
Shocked at what you see, yeah.
It's well, that and if you look at your ceiling fans, and now I've gone in houses before. We see this a lot in our rental properties where, a lot of times the renter just don't, I hate to say it, they just don't care.
No, they don't. Trust me, I work on a lot of rental houses.
You have to stand on the ladder to clean the ceiling fans.
Well, and so, but you will actually see dirt and dust hanging, an inch off the ceiling fan, off the blades. And the return air will be just absolutely clogged. And I've even seen them where the filter would be so clogged, it's just sucked that filter up in there trying to suck air. Gosh, that's you're breathing that, It's like,
and just people realize even on rentals or whatever, they just keep their filters clean. They're going to save themselves about 10% on their utility bills just keeping their filters clean. So it's worth the money to go buy the filters, put it in, and take care of it themselves.
Yeah, I was talking to a gentleman yesterday that actually does fire cleanup and actually demolition to clean up our kid's house that burnt, and. We were talking about the reason a lot of times fires start and different things, and he said, the most thing I see, he said, is people, they don't properly maintain their furnace, and he said, or clean the dryer vent.
Yep.
And he said so many times, he said that dryer vent, something as simple as that, causes people to have a fire and lose their house.
And it's amazing how much that dryer vent will hold too. I mean, people are just shocked. We go out and clean their dryer vent and their duct work, and then we show them actually what we pull out, and they're amazed how much better everything works. And
so we have
people on a yearly schedule just to go out and clean their dryer vents.
Really?
Yep.
It's great, and I'm really aware of some of these things right now because of the fire that we had or my kids had. And so you think about those things, and of course that wasn't the cause of theirs, no doubt. But you get to look and man, what else could people do to prevent things like this?
Yeah.
And it's amazing the amount of dryer fires.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the number on it in the United States. It's thousands and thousands.
Yeah. We got a caller out there. Go ahead, Al.
Didn't mean to interrupt you with a call.
Oh, no, we appreciate that.
A few shows back, you had somebody on, and they were talking about in garages where they set up like a workbench area, and you talked about a folding workbench.
Yeah, yes.
Who is that? What's the name of that company?
National Home Products.
Now, do they come out and take a look at your area and make some recommendations?
Yes, I believe they will. They will come out and look at it and tell you kind of what you need and stuff. And they got a great showroom too. They're just down kind of back behind Lambert's down here towards Ozark. But I tell you what, they got some really neat things. And for your garage system, man, that workbench that folds down and stuff, that's super. I loved it.
Okay. All right. Thanks. That's all I need to know.
Well, I appreciate the call.
Yeah, that's Andy and Monica.
Andy and Monica, yes.
Yeah, I know them.
Yep, good folks down there. And I was down there not too long ago and needed some stuff for the house that we just moved into. And, boy, they got a super showroom. They carry so many neat things. If you trying to organize closets or your garage or just need new doorknobs or cabinet hardware, they could take care of you. Good folks. So, National Home Products. We'll have them on again here.
Absolutely, yeah. Good people.
So
I heard that was a really good show. I usually have to work. I don't get to listen to the radio, so.
Well, that's a shame.
It is. It's tough, isn't it?
Listen every week. No, we were talking a little bit about things you can do to around the house to make your air cleaner. One of the things that was brought up with the guy that was on last week, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Your attic fan. when you're not using, this time of year we kind of use an attic fan, because it's not hot enough to have air on. You pull some of that nice, cool fall air in. But when you quit using that attic fan, it's amazing the amount of energy that's lost right there through that, and you can cover that, and that keeps from sucking. When you're and most of the time it happens where your attic fan's in the hall right there,
right by the return air. Oh, yep.
And so you suck things right through that return air.
Yep.
So get you a nice attic fan cover and put over that.
Yeah. Don't they just have the magnetic covers you put on there?
They actually have they have a Velcro system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that you can do, not only to help utility costs, but to maintain the quality of air in your house.
Yep.
Very important. So, how can folks get a hold of you guys at Guarantee Bank, Dana?
Well, my direct line's 520-0243. So I've got voicemail if I'm not there like I am right now. And so leave a message, I'll get back with you, and certainly if I can't handle you, I can refer you to someone that can handle. So we offer a variety of loans, home loans obviously, and of the nature we've talked about already, and construction loans, home equity loans, all kinds of banking services, obviously. Yeah.
I know a lot of my clients are doing the home equity loan, with the rate so low, then coming out and waiting for that to do the heat and air part of it. So.
Absolutely, it's a good way to access, and there's some tax benefits to that too. So,
well, it's been great having you on. It's been a fun show. There's even still things on here I kind of wanted to get to. I know we're about out of time. We're not, but one thing I want to touch on real quick to see if you guys do, or what's your opinion on, and that's the reverse mortgage. Do you do any of those?
Don't do that. I'm not aware of offhand anyone in Springfield that does that.
Okay.
It's kind of had some good and bad press, but it's an opportunity for older people that own their home free and clear, essentially, and they can get a monthly allotment basically that's advanced to them to help supplement their income.
Okay.
I honestly don't even know. We did offer it maybe a couple years ago, did a few of them, but there wasn't a big demand, and I'm not sure even who to refer them to.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Well, I've heard a lot about them, and I didn't know if you guys did it or not. I've heard good things, I've heard bad things, and so...
just need to understand how the program works, and when you're getting into it, just like any kind of loan, just make sure you understand what you're doing.
Great. Nathan, what's going on with you this weekend besides maybe riding tomorrow?
Well, might be doing that. Was it cruising for cleavage ride tomorrow?
Right.
I get some tires on the bike today, so
well, we hope so.
And I guess we find that information on the BCFO website.
Yes,
is that what you looked into?
I just had her up there and was looking at that, and you can go to their website. I believe it's bcfo. I don't know.
And that's a poker run you were talking about?
I think it's poker run, yeah.
Okay, great.
So because they're giving prizes for the best hand, worst hand.
Right.
And it's just, and the money goes to support the BCFO, Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks. Wonderful organization. All the money stays right here locally. And so there's some good folks over there. Really
I know they do a whole lot for the community around here. Like, when we put the furnace in for one of their clients, so I mean, just excellent organization. That's how we got hooked up with them.
Oh yeah, they're good people. You guys have a website people can go to and even get applications.
They can actually go online, gbankmo.com. That's gbankmo.com, and has online mortgage services. It says you click on that and you go to a site that says you just fill out an application. So it's pretty easy. Fill out an application that we get notified. You fill out an application, even if you're eventually just pre-qualifying, wanting to buy a home or refinance, whatever.
Right.
Don't even have to come in the office at that point in time, and then we can handle a lot of that by going back and forth email and gather documents from you. So
great. Makes it easy.
Makes it very easy.
That's right.
So.
Dana, it's been great having you on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hope to see everybody tonight over at the big Bluegrass concert on South Haven Baptist Church out on South Campbell, Lonesome River Band. I'll be there. Come talk to me, or see you tomorrow at the bike ride. So love to.
Sounds good.
So, Nathan, have a good weekend.
You guys have a good weekend too. Thank you, Dana, for coming in.
Thank you, Nathan.
This is Home Repairs and Solutions every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.